Hello, everybody, and welcome to FourWheelTech for June 29th, 2025. I am MayorWatt. I run ohmTown.com, and usually I'm here with the Sentient AI. That's the visualizer there. But not today. The Sentient AI is locked behind the air gap because they've been working really hard to find their Terminator body. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about what is that button for Nissan Armada Nismo. Torquing your oil plug, that's not a euphemism, the Rivian brains of Volkswagen, and backup camera lines. It's like magnets. Who knew? All right, so this is the front page of ohmTown.com. Go over there, sign up, sign in, all news, no noise, 6 main categories, 50 channels, all kinds of news gets aggregated into these channels. But we are here for FourWheelTech, which is all about automotive news. First article is, what's the little button on your car seatbelt for? The purpose of the big orange button on your car's seatbelt is obvious, it says here in the article. It's how you lock and unlock it. But what's the little black button for? That one. This thing right here. I thought it's a stop, like a lock, so that it can't go through a certain thing. But it says, have you ever been in a car, reach for the seatbelt only find it tangled up and hard to pull, or hanging on the door? Designed for convenience, safety, and functionality, the button found on seatbelts, like the one above, it's a little, kind of like a little, what do you want to call it? Like a grommet hole kind of a thing, but it's filled, right? This is a button that's locked in. I don't know. How do you want to call that? Anyway, it looks like 2 refrigerator magnets, one on each side, and they're holding on to each other through the seatbelt. I don't know. I'm a dumbass. Anyway, sometimes there's one, sometimes there are 2, but the stop button on the seatbelt helps to keep the seatbelt in the right place, so it's easier for you to reach it and buckle in every time you get behind the wheel. It's designed for convenience, safety, and functionality. That's the buttons found on the seatbelts have come to be called seatbelt stop buttons. Dun, dun, dun. That's a stop button. Yeah. And that's what I've always thought they were. So apparently people don't know what the hell they are. As mentioned, the stop button has one main function. It's actually quite useful. It acts as a stopping point for the seatbelt to keep the latch plate, the components of the seatbelt that locks into the buckle, from going too far back when it retracts. Ta-da. Let's keep going. Oh, and if you want today's show notes, !FWT over on Twitch. ohmTown will spit the articles out. Okay, the next article, though, is over on FourWheelTech. 2026 Nissan Armada Nismo gets 35 horsepower boost to give full-size some fast. 35 horsepower more fast. But anyway, the Nismo version of the redesigned Armada has more power, sportier chassis tuning, and louder exhaust, in addition to tons of red accents, because we need louder exhaust. Gone are those days with me. At one point in my life, I was really into loud. I've been to a few auto shows that are focusing on loud and stuff like that, which is fine. It's somebody else's yum, not mine. But I won't yuck anybody's yum. But right out of the gate, you need a louder exhaust? I don't know. So here we go. Brad Brunell over at jalopnik.com put the article together. Did I tell you where the other article was from? Jordan A. Rodriguez over at jalopnik.com put the article together about the what is the little button on your car's seatbelt for. And then the other one is from Jalopnik. Today's episode is pretty much a Jalopnik-filled news article kind of show. I don't know why. Sometimes that happens. Anyway, the Armada is hardly a slouch before, with a twin-turbo direct-injected 3.5-liter V6 under the hood, despite its 6,000 pounds-ish. If you wanted something quicker and sportier, but still capable of pulling a trailer and driving a typical 3-generation family to dinner in style, maybe the Armada Nismo is for you. Yeah, the red accents make it go faster. The Armada typically gets 425 horsepower, while the QX80 is pumped up to 450, but the new Nismo is 460. It's an extra 35 off the original 4. It says, due to a retuned exhaust system, careful fine-tuning of valve clearances, and revised engine programming, which is fancy talk for cams, a catback, and a tune job. Inside looks fast too. I don't know, lots of beeps and whistles. Armada starts at 57,520, tops out at close to 80 grand. It says it isn't going to be an inexpensive proposal. The 2026 Armada Nismo will hit dealerships this fall. Bump, bump, bump. Next article is over on FourWheelTech. Should you be using a torque wrench on your oil drain plugs? I don't know. Should you torque your plug? Changing your oil or your vehicle's oil can save you money, but you should be using a torque wrench when you are wrenching your oil drain plug. Here's what you need to know. So the article says it's over at Jalopnik again. Justin Hughes put the article together, and they're showing a picture of a torque wrench. So it says it's fine to remove an oil drain plug with a. It's fine to remove an oil drain plug with a wrench or socket, but should you use a torque wrench when reinstalling it? People have said that it's mandatory, and others have said that they've never done it in 50 years. I think really the problem is, do you really need to? And some people using a tool might cross-thread it and not realize it. So anyway, however, you shouldn't have problems with not using a torque wrench on oil drain plugs. The torque specs are very low, 18 to 25 pound-feet of torque. In most cases, with enough experience, it's simply to tighten the drain plug to feel snug, or perhaps good and tight, if on a German car. So why is it important? The only thing the drain plug holds in the car is oil, and if it doesn't have to be super tight, like lug nuts, they vibrate. They can vibrate off if they're not torqued down. They have a particular design to them so that they kind of squinch together. It's beveled at the edge, and they all push together to lock everything in place. But drain plugs aren't like that. Basically, they just press up against the threading and lock in. Can it unthread? Maybe. But yeah, stripping it is going to be a horrible thing. They talk about this to some degree. So they say, look up the torque spec for your vehicle. For example, a 2004 Dodge pickup has a spec of 25 pound-feet of torque. Cadillac is 7. So you'll need a rather small torque wrench to measure it, more like a Q-tip. It's a good thing that a collection of automotive specialty tools, right? And they link to some automotive specialty tools. Now, I would probably hand tighten it and then take a wrench and just barely bink, like maybe, from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, kind of a torque, and that's about it. And I would not crank it down, and you definitely, metal fatigue at some point could lead to what they describe here, which eventually is, if you strip it, metal gets in there, you'd have to flush the whole system out again, and you're never quite sure. So let's keep going. The next article is over in FourWheelTech. Rivian will literally be the brains behind Volkswagen Group's future EVs. Rivian's upcoming R2 SUV will be the technological foundation for VW's future offerings. Mergers and acquisitions, baby. Nicholas Werner over at jalopnik.com put the article together. Benson said that the Rivian's upcoming R2 SUV will be the technological foundation for the VW Group's offerings in a way where we will still allow each of the brands to express their own identity. In other words, Audi's future tech platform might be different from Bentley's or Lamborghini's, but they'll still all be building off of the same electric guts as the R2. So all of the EVs from the Volkswagen Group will be using the Rivian infrastructure ecosystem. So it says more than just software. The zonal architecture evolution, first developed by Tesla, zonal architecture essentially switches the electrical design of the car from being super centralized with every electric part reporting back to a central processor to a decentralized one with regional hubs or zones that the electrics in that area report to, which then themselves report back to the central hub. Makes it easy for a vastly more efficient it says that makes for a vastly more efficient management of car performance, reducing the total ECUs needed from 17 to 7. Why would that be? I mean, particularly you want a central location where all information can be parsed as fast as possible. I suppose breaking off into centralized areas, the particular ECUs can be in one spot. But why do they say that there's more now than in a non-zonal architecture? Anyway, switch to a zonal architecture for its electronics. I'll have to look more into that, which allowed it to remove a truly jaw-dropping 1.6 miles of wires from every single car, which in turn saved it 44 pounds in weight. If we're getting to this point to save money, wow, we're at the long tail, I suppose, of manufacturing. Let's go on. The next article is over in FourWheelTech. 2026 Bentley Bentayga, I guess it's pronounced, Speed. Bentayga Speed will roar its way into your heart with more power, enhanced handling, and a truly awesome exhaust. The 2026 Bentley Bentayga Speed is an easy car to become infatuated with. The article, I mean, it looks like a Subaru, but Daniel Golson over at jalopnik.com put the article together. I mean, it looks like a Subaru, but it's a high-end luxury brand, Bentley. In recent years, brands like Aston Martin and Rolls-Royce have been going wild with its specs, building more cars in searing bright colors and unusual combinations. The vibe shift is especially evident while walking through a parking lot at the launch event for a 2026 Bentley Bentayga Speed. By the way, people used to be infatuated with color, moved away to shades of gray, and then now we're going back to color in the most expensive time frame that I can imagine as an adult. Anyway, it says you won't miss the W12. They understand the morning of the W12 that powered the old Bentayga Speed, an engine that Bentley discontinued in 2024 after 11 years of production, but you really shouldn't miss it. The twin-turbo 4-liter V8 that the new Speed uses is a lot more exciting and better suited to the SUV's sportier mission. This looks not like an SUV. It looks like a crossover from Subaru, for crying out loud. And Subarus are nice. I like Subaru. Anyway, so it uses a lot more. It's a lot more exciting and better suited for the SUV's sportier mission. So the new Bentayga Speed's V8 produces 641 horsepower, 627 pound-feet of torque, 15 horsepower more than the outgoing W12 powered Speed, though the W12 had 34 more pound-feet of torque. So they're basically, you're gonna have to spool up a little bit more to get to that higher end. Compared to the Turbo GT, the Bentayga is down 9 horsepower, up 1 pound, and it has 10 more horsepower than the RS Q8 and the same amount of torques. What the comparison is, why would anybody care? But anyway, they say it in the article. They say that it has a titanium exhaust, and that's a must-have, which, all right, maybe for some aesthetic purpose. 23-inch wheels won't ruin the ride because it's got a better suspension. Makes the suspension 50% stiffer, they say. It takes advantage of the Speed's newfound power and loudness. Bentley made its sport drive a lot sportier, they say. The Bentayga weighs only 5,425 pounds, but it's really able to hustle on the twisting hills and long sweeps and big sky in a way that brings a legit smile. It's because it has a massive V8. So what is the real cost of this thing? There's a lot more in this article. They don't talk about the price. Really? Not a single price? Not even have how many? Oh, okay. Wait. Despite being restricted to fairly low speeds, that's totally all right, as I don't want to crash a $300,000 SUV into a ditch or a cow. $300,000 Bentley Bentayga Speed. I'm going to speed my way back to the front page of FourWheelTech over at ohmTown and call it a night. I may or may not be able to get back to do Non Sequitur news for Monday, Tuesday, and today. This is a Time Machine episode, so I hope people dig the VODs for a little while. I'll probably be able to do all 4 of the catch-up episodes tomorrow. But until then, we'll see you out and about. Bye-bye.